Hi, I'm Randy Van Wagner, president of Mohawk Valley Community College, and I'm here with Dennis Gibbons, who started at MVCC in 1992 as a resident director, held several titles along the way over the years, and for the last several years, after being director of residence life, has been the dean of student life, the title he still holds today, all these years later. And Dennis, thank you so much for joining me to help MVCC celebrate our 75th anniversary.
Thank you for the invitation.
Very good. And if you don't mind starting, just share. So 1992, how did you first come to find your way to work at MVCC?
1992, I was the academic year, my senior academic year. The fall semester was great. And then the reality set in the spring semester that college would be ending in May and I needed a job. So as the semester went on, I started my visits with career services and we worked on the resume and we started applying and it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And as the semester drew to a close, I still was looking for a job and I took a summer course. And my brother was helping me because back in 1992, it was not easy doing a resume. You needed somebody who had a typewriter and a printer, and you needed somebody who could really help you just get the darn thing on paper. And so I was entering my last class, my last summer class. I had 3 credits to make up, and I was headed to my final exam. And I remember my brother called me, and he was working in Utica at the time, and he saw this position. And so literally as I was getting ready to go to the final exam, he was editing my resume and my cover letter with the correct name and everything. And Rose Button was the supervisor I was submitting it to. And we kind of were trying to figure out how her name went. And we sent in the application and it really just resonated from there. And so I interviewed, and it was a very interesting interview because I thought that I did not do well in the interview. And it was so funny because the president happened to be out that day, so I did not meet with the president. And the supervisor was pulled out of the interview during it for a crisis. And so my interview was the committee and a couple minutes with the vice president. And I was so excited after I left, but I didn't think that I did that well. And so I went to tell my mother, who worked down on Genesee Street, how it was. And my day ended after the interview with smashing my mother's car after I left the interview to tell her about the interview. And it was the first car accident that I had, and I hit a car. So I just thought the stars were not aligning. And then I kept pursuing with phone calls. About every 4 or 5 days, I would call Rose Button. And I thought I was the second choice. The person who was offered the job declined it. And I had a rude awakening about 3 months into the job to find out I was the third choice after the 2 people declined it. So to me, that really shows the perseverance of the phone call. And so I still remember that job search today of the phone calls and the using family members to help you. And it all worked out. And I started in August of 1992.
Those are great stories. So the third choice, it's kind of like Ben Affleck and Batman kind of thing. And here at 29 years later, that's great. Oh my gosh. So as a former resident director myself, I hesitate to even venture into this realm with you to ask you to share some of your favorite stories and memories of, not just residence halls, of course, but just your time at MVCC.
Yeah.
Or, if you don't mind sharing some of the stories and memories that stick out for you, that would be great.
I think that literally working in residence life, every incident or every situation can be a story. And it started with, I started in August of 92, as you know, and within the next couple of days, I was off to a camping trip up north with 15 students. And the the co-director that I had was 9 months and a couple days pregnant, who they sent me with up into the Adirondacks to camp. And so I was petrified. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You're a brand new professional. And so it was a fantastic event, and that's what started it off. But um, after the first year, really every situation that I had was really, really an opportunity for growth. A couple of the highlights is the construction of Bellamy Hall. And to me, that is one of the best stories that I have, that I actually run a program that actually I had the ability to, I chose the color of brick on the building, where we had several different brick color examples, and we were so diligent to make it match the brick in the college center and the brick in the other buildings, and that the buildings were the same height. And to have that opportunity to really design the program was one of the, I think, the greatest gifts. So we had an opportunity to design, oh no, we want this closet to go here, and we want this lounge to go here. And that has blessings and a curse, because now, of course, every time I walk in the building, oh, why didn't I put this wall here and make this a window? And so you start thinking of that. But that was one of the, I guess, the greatest honors here that I had as well, is building Bellamy Hall. One of the funniest stories I had is we planned, we're college administrators, and we tried to foresee all of the different nuances of each project that we're doing, and we're trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. And Mohawk Valley Community College residence halls were, to my knowledge, the first to go smoke-free. And that was a very big thing that our board was really adamant on. So we recognized, to go smoke-free, before smoke-free was popular, we were smoke-free long before the college was smoke-free, tobacco-free. And so we were very, very diligent to recognize we had to accommodate smokers. So there had to be some place where they could smoke in convenience and comfort and warmth. And so we ended up getting really things, little alcoves that really resembled bus stops. And so we made sure that they were in the residence hall quad, and we thought our program was working well. And I would look down there and I thought, oh, there's that student, and boy, she never smokes in there, but she really likes the bus stop. And the next day I'd look, boy, she likes hanging out in there. Maybe she's friends with smokers, but never seems to smoke. So this went on for about a week or 10 days. And finally I ran into her in the dining hall, and she came up to me and she said, I have a big concern. And I said, well, how can I help you? And she said, I have waited for that bus every morning, and it has not arrived any single day. Where is the bus schedule? And it really resonated to me that no matter how much we plan, students will interpret a program, or families will interpret a program that just is a little bit not what we planned. So there we had, made sense to her. We had a bus stop in the middle of the quad. If you see a bus stop, you would make a logical conclusion that a bus will be coming sometime.
Oh my goodness.
So,
wow. And along those lines, it reminds me, I have it in my head that sometimes when students come up from New York City and enroll at the college, sight unseen, and learn that we have programs on their program, or classes are on the Rome campus. Mm-hmm. Where they come in, they like, have you ever had students ask, like, where's the subway, or how do I get to Rome?
Well, I think the students, as they come from New York City, and I think it's one of the biggest gifts, I think, for residence life programs, is we have the people come from the smallest towns in New York State, where there's one I remember that has probably less than 15 or 12 every graduating class. And then you have individuals come from one of the largest cities in the world. And what they often describe is that wow moment when they have passed deer, when they have passed cows as they're driving up, and they get here and trying to acclimate and understand, how do I get from Union Station to the college? And the fact that they are looking for the next, when you get off of one piece of transportation, there will automatically be another one there to take you to your next destination. and it is something that scares them. But it also is one of the biggest gifts for or benefits of the college and the students is to watch them from all different areas of the really the world, and to learn about each other and develop with each other. And then you see the New York City students going home with students who live in Oswego or Syracuse or Clinton, or and seeing that really that opportunity for growth between all the students.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, one of the most, it sticks out to me the most, because if you talk about what captures what we do, and beginning in January every year, we start planning for the following academic year. It's just what we do. So we're on as an academic institution, every January, you're working on the same thing every February. So we start planning for the fall semester. And then after graduation, and we start in the summer with planning for fall opening. And to us, oftentimes, if you do it so many times, I just completed, I think, my 59th opening,
Oh,
and you operationalize different aspects where you've got to create the orientation schedule and you've got to do the RA training schedule. But there was this time where we had the media here, and we had a mother give an interview to the WKTV newscaster. And when that mother's tears were rolling down her eyes, that mother was dropping her student off and entrusting her student, who it's every parent's dream, many parents' dreams, to send their child to college. The students have wanted and thought about this for years. For us, we're creating another orientation. And to listen to the mother talk about how nervous they were as a family, how excited but panicked, how this was the first step in the student achieving their dream of becoming a nurse or any different type of academic career. This was their first step. And I remember that every single opening, and I often will send a message or a text to my staff. Remember, for us, it's another workday. For the families and the students, this is a huge day in their life. And recognizing the importance that we play in that is really moving to me each year. And I remember that mother I went home that night and I watched it on the news, and just her tears of saying, this is my child. And when they talk about how they cried on the way to school or on the way to the campus, it means a lot. And that's what I remember every one of these openings. So yes, 59 openings, but really everyone is the first for somebody. So that is one of the most moving things, that watching that, I don't know, it just moved me.
yeah, that's powerful, powerful stuff.
Um,
And you maybe one more out of 3 million to tell, but maybe one more.
well, I think one of the things that was really interesting to me is what occurred on the morning of 9/11. And for us, we started the day like everybody else with nothing going on. And I remember I was sitting in this office and I get an email from Jeff Kimball that went to all users. It was called All Users back then. Everybody had their All Users account. And it said there was some sort of an incident in New York City where a plane hit the World Trade Center. And little did we know what that day would bring. Every minute brought something else. And that was one of the most difficult days for us, because we have a ton of New York City students. We had so many students who had families there, who definitely knew people who worked at the Trade Center. We had people who were trying to, cell phones were relatively new then. Not they weren't new, but the technology wasn't there. Not being able to get a hold of family, getting in the cars and trying to get home to check on family and friends. We didn't have cable TV in the residence halls. And so all of those things, really what our students were going through that day, it was really one of the most difficult days, I think, for the institution and for supporting the students, because we were reeling from an event like we've never seen before, and the students were reeling from it. And that was a really big, it was a tough day for all of us on campus.
Powerful, yeah. Mm. And yeah, so you have those high moments, the funny moments, the memorable moments,
Yep.
so much. And working in residence life, it's what is it? It's like dog years, because it's kind
Yes.
of 24/7 care of these students. And leave alone managing all it's a whole nother facilities and smoke alarms and water main breaks and
Mhm.
so many issues. And you've done such a great job over 29 years. How what keeps you coming back?
MVCC has had a very, it's almost like they know exactly when I need something. And whenever the job starts to get a little bit stale, there's a change. So I've been really associated with residence life in a large part, but then to be given the opportunity to be the administrator of what was then called the Disability Services Office. And so you can really hone in on that skill and that student service and the importance of and how you can impact students' lives every day by reasonable accommodations, whether they're large or small, that we can help somebody start their dreams by attending college. And so as that transitioned, and then I started being the administrator of the health center and introducing a college physician to the campus and introducing so medications for, an antibiotic for a strep throat that will, for someone without insurance, would sideline them for 2 or 3 weeks, and they would get behind classes, etc. And being able to introduce new services to that area. And so then now this year is a very interesting year for me because I'm really overseeing now for the first time very directly a grant. So this is the first time where I am truly overseeing at the basic level, the STEP grant. And so right when it starts to get stale, another thing comes and an opportunity for growth and development into the job description, but also in the programming outside of my position. For example, I was very lucky to attend a program, Peaks, and I still learn what I learned in Peaks every day, just this week. And it was really heartwarming that I had to do a function that a lot of supervisors have to do with writing a letter to an employee recently. And I used my Peak skills, and to hear the response from the human resources office, what you got this, and this, everything is, yep, this is all fantastic. And exactly all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. It helps me to know that I have developed as a supervisor. I really feel I need to call the people I supervised in the late 90s and just apologize.
Exactly.
I just have to apologize. It was what I look at how my role as a supervisor now and how it's developed over the years. And man, if I see those people that I supervised in 2000, I need to say, I've come a long ways. So
yeah, that opportunity, this place, I always say it's just the right size of, it's small enough to be so connected and have such great relationships, but it's big enough that many people have the experience of shifting and changing and growing and learning over the years. That it keeps you coming back. That's great.
We had a thing last year where there was a conversation going on Facebook, and it was one student comparing her experience at a college out of New York State. And she chimed about, I wish I was back in the MVCC residence halls. And then students with years between them, so these students' paths have never crossed, were making comments. And the directors were sending me screenshots of all of these Facebook comments of saying, MVCC residence halls did this, there's support there was this. And to have the students reflect on it, which was really meaningful, is that these students were not a group of students who were at the same time. Wow. They were semesters apart. Oh, I had that experience too. And that really, I can leave here thinking that we have made a difference, the Residence Life team.
No doubt. Well, Dennis, thank you so much for helping us celebrate 75 years of MVCC. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.